We're live.
Thank you. It was so delayed. It's like, how tired is he that he's not even?
Gotta build up to it, man.
But he did the thing. We are live once again. The Lonely Marks here with our Backlash review, and of course, I'm joined by the same three people I'm always joined by. First of all, Austin, how's it going?
What's up, man? No, I'm good. Just coming off a couple of nights of a very full schedule. So, scheduling, doing shit every night. It's fun. So there's just another thing on the schedule. But yeah, I'm happy to be here talking about what I thought was a pretty damn good show.
Yeah,
overall.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it because I was not excited going in, but coming out,
yeah,
pretty excited. Speaking of coming out, Jordan's here.
What am I coming out of? Birthday cake?
This deep sleep that you were in.
Hey, man, sometimes you gotta take a nice little nap so you get prepared to talk about a good old almost match. Am I right, everybody?
And Richie is also here. Richie, how's it going?
I'm sure it is a pretty good show when you go perfect in your predictions. Fucking Carlito.
Carlito didn't even count in the predictions though. Like he just.
I was the one who brought. But somebody brought him up. Me. I brought him up. But anyways, that could have been a tiebreaker though. I would say I would have argued, but I don't think it needed to be a tiebreaker because yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you went perfect.
Hey, listen. I haven't won yet, so this is monumental for me. Okay, I bombed like every single one of them, so let me have my moment. So yeah.
You know how much it hurts to do the best you've ever done in predictions and you still lose?
Yeah.
No, you don't. I do.
No, I do. There was one where I almost won by like one as well, and I came like.
Oh, was there? Really okay, yeah. Okay,
yeah, I came super close. I don't think it was like one of the last one or two, but it was a couple of pay-per-views ago. I did like really, really well, except for like one match where I should have gone. I think it might have even been like WrestleMania or something because I know I got the Roman Reigns thing right, but like I was really, really close except for like one thing. So I've come close a bunch of times, and Rich and JP have won a bunch of times. So you guys have won enough. It's my time now. Jesus Christ, that's the second Amber Alert I've had on my phone. How many kids are getting kidnapped tonight near me? Jesus.
Well, stop kidnapping kids.
Stop kidnapping kids, people. Jesus, enough.
What is going on in the world?
Yeah, what is going on? It's the second one tonight.
There were like 4 separate like hoax active shooters around like in my area. It's ridiculous. Don't do that, people.
Yeah, stop
Don't
doing that.
kidnap kids. It's just
stop it.
Don't kidnap or shoot children. Those are both bad things to do.
Guys, I think we just solved a big problem. Good for us.
Yeah. See, now that I've told everybody, it'll stop happening.
Now
don't do bad things.
Somebody was like, "You mother!" They listen to our podcast, guys.
The more you know.
No, I was going to shoot that guy, but these 4 people on YouTube said not to. So here I am.
You know what? If we can make a difference, just one person, Jacob, I'll take it.
I still like Chris Rock just make bullets really expensive idea,
Yeah.
Like what? He got shot. He must have deserted. Bullets are like $10,000 a piece.
It's like $1,000 a bullet. Yeah, you got to. It's a real.
He deserved it.
That's like the. Does anybody remember the Mick Foley promo where he was commissioner and he was sitting on the riding lawnmower and he talked to Triple H and Triple H wanted to beat his ass and he goes, "Yeah, go ahead. Each punch will cost you $5,000." And then Triple H goes, "Hey, Steph, get my wallet. This is gonna be expensive." I thought that was a funny promo. Yeah, because if you did that, you might have to think twice about that.
I liked his interaction with people with the commissioner. It was funny.
Yeah.
It's like every time when Triple H came into his office one time, it's like, it's like playing with a plant. He's like, prick. Oh, hey, I was just talking about you. Yeah.
Nice.
He's a great authority figure. Both of them are actually, but we're not here to talk about authority figures. I haven't seen any of your work, so I can't speak on that.
I hold the record of being the GM in more Florida Indies than anyone. So
cool.
All right, you hang your head on that. Moving on.
All right. So first of all,
After that.
let's talk about Backlash because that's kind of what we're here to do. First of all, let's just talk about the crowd.
Yeah.
The
The
crowd were
crowd
great.
was incredible from start to finish. I thought maybe they'll die out a little bit after the Bad
I
Bunny.
thought they
match.
died a little bit during the 6-man near the end. I think it's just because they were a little exhausted from the Bad Bunny thing right before it. But they were still like, even with that, they were still louder than like your average crowd. So yeah, and they came back at the end. But yeah, Puerto Rico was they love their wrestling, but I think they were also excited because we talked about what the last time they even did any kind of WWE show. There was that New Year's Revolution show way back in 2005 or 2006, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
18, 19 years ago, something
Yeah,
like
a
that.
long
Yeah,
time.
so yeah, and I knew like if the crowd from SmackDown was any indication, like I was like this crowd is going to be great. Singing along to all the like we'll get to it in our second match, but the crowd like singing along with the songs and it was just an incredible crowd. And I kind of wish I hope they go back to Puerto Rico more often because
They should just make Backlash the Puerto Rico pay-per-view every year. You know, you want to guarantee yourself a great crowd, just like have Clash of the Castle every year in England, have Backlash every year in Puerto Rico. You can still do your Saudi Arabia thing and then just go around for all the other ones. But like you should just based on that, just go to Puerto Rico once a year. Make Backlash the Puerto Rico pay-per-view.
Well, at the very least, this is an argument. Hey, maybe you don't need to do every pay-per-view in America. You can branch out and go to Wales and go to England and go to Puerto Rico.
Go back to Japan for a pay-per-view. They haven't been to Japan since like a Raw in like 2004. Like, they had that one Beast in the East thing or whatever. That was like a streaming exclusive. You know what I mean? It wasn't really a pay-per-view. Yeah, go do pay-per-view there, man. I'm sure they would love that. And book some Japanese people on there. Like that'd be cool. It doesn't have to be New Japan people. You could do, other people, like whatever.
Yeah.
Veterans. No.
Yeah, but the crowd was hot, especially during our first match. Bianca Belair defeating Io Sky for the whatever championship she holds because whatever show she's on, it's the other one's championship. Yeah. But no, this I thought this was a great opener. None of us predicted this as the opener, but crowd was firmly behind Io in this match, and I loved it. And Bianca even kind of played to the crowd a little bit, realizing it. So good on her. Like, but yeah, how do we feel about the opener of Backlash? Jordan, let's go to you first.
I dug it a lot. This is my match of the night, to be honest with you. I thought this was a great way to start the show. It does make sense in retrospect now. You had enough to where you believed maybe Io had a shot. I think they made that a good sell here, furthering maybe the dissolution of her Damage Control group here. So I thought they put on a great match here, man. I really did. As far as just straightforward match, I think this is definitely easily the match of the night if you just go for like a straightforward normal match. And
if you go on that, I'm probably agreeing with you, but it's not like my overall match of the night, which we'll get to
for me. I'd still take this over anything else on this card.
Yeah, as far as like a wrestling match, like this was great. Austin, what are your thoughts on Bianca and Io?
I'd agree with Jordan that at least if you're going wrestling wise, this was the best match on the card. Maybe overall entertainment value, maybe something else on the show that we'll talk about, but like. As far as a straight wrestling match, I think this is the best. This was match of the night. I'm also there. Like I was surprised at how good this ended up being, and they gave him a lot of time. Do you have the times or not, Jacob? This felt like about at least 15 minutes.
I'll pull it up too.
According to Wikipedia, we got 18 on this one.
Okay, so yeah, it felt like a good 15 or 20. Like it felt like, but it wasn't boring. Like it was a good pace. They didn't change really the style of the match, despite the crowd going full babyface mode for Io Sky. They. It's like Bianca got a pop when she came out, and then Io got a pop, and then they just were like, screw it. Let's just go Io Sky. Let's go Io. And I thought it was interesting, but it made for a more fun match because, it wasn't like Bianca then was working heel. Io was still kind of putting on the heat, kind of controlling a good chunk of the match. I think they just decided, hey, let's just be, as Jerry Lawler would say, bizarro world or something, and let's just, have a little fun. And I'm fine with that. And Io played into it a little bit, and I thought it indicates she could definitely be a babyface in the future if they decide to kind of break up Damage Control a little bit. So yeah, good match, really solid wrestling here. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was a good opener.
Yeah. Richie, what did you think about the opening match?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match, and I do think they're probably going to go with Io's babyface. It seems like it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was one scary spot where I think Bianca
Dropped her on her
had
face.
her up in a gorilla press slam and then dropped it right on Io's face.
Yeah.
But luckily she's all right. But yeah, no.
Yeah, that shit was weird. I was like, no protection of the head at all. Just add.
I think it was
one
either
hand,
Io. It was supposed to be just an up and down, to where she could just land that, or it was supposed to be an actual gorilla press. I think Io forgot what it was supposed to be, so she tried to do both, and then when she landed, she just landed face first and splatted. And to be fair, Bianca might have dropped her as well. I don't know. Doing the one hand thing was risky. I don't think she needed to do that. But yeah, I definitely thought she was going to come up with a bloody nose after that one and break her face.
Yeah, but luckily she's all right. And yeah, but I would watch these two have a good match. Yeah, have a series of matches. I think that were great. And it took a while to work out what the finish was. Yeah, so obviously she Bailey had had Bianca's hair, and then she got caught by the ref, so she let it go, and then that caused Bianca to be able to move out of the way, and then get the pin. But yeah, it took me a while to work out what the not to be classic dude dude obsessed with looks, but Bailey looks really hot. Just gonna be honest. Ooh, good.
Is that all you think about?
She looked hot. I'm going
to be fair,
honest.
they had the camera zoom in on what she was wearing, and she was wearing pants that looked like they had a disposable bottom to them or something, rear to them that you could just take off or lower down, and it was it looked very good. And Aaron Solo's a lucky man.
Well, he was.
Or are they
no longer with Solo?
They not. Okay, I didn't know that. Wow. All right.
JPO's got a shot.
Oh boy.
So you're
there's a good match. I don't know where it might be my favorite, as far as wrestling wise. I didn't yet, but yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing them run it back at Night of Champions, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, they're going to fill out the card with something. They're only a couple weeks away. They've only got one.
Hey, to be fair, AEW's got the same problem right now. They got 2 matches announced for Double or Nothing and nothing else officially.
I know.
So yeah, it's like, what are you guys doing? You're like 2 weeks away. Start getting some matches together. Do it. Quit doing this last minute nonsense. Build some stuff, build it up, and do some promos, do some matches leading up to it. Get it going, guys.
I am worried too that Night of Champions is going to have a lot of matches that aren't actually for titles. It's still Night of Champions, but you could.
Well, I think I don't know if they'll have that many. I know we got one announced already, but they've got the 2 mid cards, the 2 world, the 2 women's, the tag.
But I think because it's Saudi Arabia, I don't see a lot of them changing hands in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
They'll crown the new champion or whatever for the Raw thing, but I don't, it's looking like they don't really do a lot of title changes and other.
We'll get to it, but I'm thinking it's going to be Seth versus Edge. Man.
Yeah.
That could be. It could be. I could see them going Seth, AJ. Yeah, no Edge. I wouldn't mind seeing Edge. Get one last run before he retires.
But then does he go to Raw?
I mean, he's gonna have to.
Yeah, I know. That's the weirdest thing. That's the weird thing.
Alvarez had a good point. He goes, if you know with your SmackDown that you put in the tournament, you're going to lose one of your top guys to Raw because they're going to potentially win the title. Wouldn't you put your worst mid card guys in there so you don't lose a valuable member of your roster? So put I don't know who's a
top dollar.
Yeah, who's a nobody on SmackDown right now, or people who work opening matches. I don't know.
Their roster's already so small as it is.
That's what I mean. You're gonna lose one of your potential big 3 or 4 guys. It's
surprised they didn't include one of the free agents like Corbin.
Yeah.
But speaking of Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins defeated Omos in what I thought was actually not a bad match.
It wasn't terrible.
Seth. I mean, you put Seth in there, and he's gonna do his best, and he did that here. But man, this is what I meant when I was talking about the crowd, like and the theme songs. Like, I wonder how long they would have gone if Omos didn't kick Seth in the back of the head.
Right.
What was the there's like a international house show report of it, like it's like 14 minutes. Like, there's something like crazy.
It was in
That's amazing. I want to see that now. But decent match. Austin, what did you think about Seth and Omos?
From what I've seen of Omos, which has pretty much just been the pay-per-view matches, this is about as good as an Omos match I think we're ever going to get in his entire career. I mean, realistically, which is to say he's never going to have a 5-star classic, maybe not even a 3-star classic, but this was like a solid 2.5-star match, which is pretty damn good given the fact that it's an Omos match. You know what I mean? I thought it was definitely different than the Brock Lesnar match because the Brock Lesnar thing was more of like a quick sprint, 5-6 minutes. This one was a little more short. It still felt like under 10 or around 10.
It was just 10. Over 10, according to
10. Okay, so that's what it felt like. It definitely shouldn't have gone more than that. I think they could have gone even a minute or two less, but I think Seth did a good job of selling for him. Yeah, I liked Omos cutting him off in the entrance. I thought that was actually smart, and the same thing we'll talk about in the main event with like a cutoff, quick open. But I thought that was pretty smart to get some good heat. And I mean, Omos did about as good as a job as you could ever get out of him. Playing to his strength, and Seth obviously carrying the good match and getting kind of the couple of curb stomps and putting him over as a monster, but getting the big top rope one at the end. I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. You know what I mean? Like not a classic, but it could have been way, way worse. As you know, I mean, this was a success all around. You know what I mean, given the circumstances. So
this is probably my least favorite match of the night, but even my least favorite was still a good
This
match.
might not have been my least favorite match of the night. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get there. I think this is better than another match.
Okay. That's fair.
Card we'll talk about.
Richie, what did you think about Seth and Omos?
Yeah. And by the way, I forgot to mention the 6-man didn't open the show. Who would guess that would open the show? That's silly.
That's weird.
Anyway,
it was you two.
Yeah. Anyway, no, this match was fine. It's full credit to Rollins though. Yeah, he could probably have a good match with the broom. But it's about as what you're going to get with Omos. I don't know what they're doing with Omos, to be honest, because they're like, we want to push him as a big monster, but when it comes down to it, he's not going to get any big wins. So what do you do with him?
You just keep giving him guys to squash like the next night or the night before or whatever, and that's all he does.
Yeah, then it builds up to a major pay-per-view, he loses. So, okay. And then eventually they're going to realize it's diminishing returns with him, and then they're going to turn him into a comedy character like Great Khali.
Yeah.
6 months from now, Omos is totally dancing or something.
Yeah. Like what they did with remember when Albert came back as King whatever Lord Tensai, and then like a month later he was doing a comedy character because it wasn't
Sweet
working.
Tea.
Yeah,
Tensai, Ryback, Heidenreich, Snitsky.
Well, and that was the first time
too.
That wasn't the first time Albert,
it wasn't his fault.
That wasn't the first time Albert went comedy. Remember, he was the hip hop hippo.
And that actually worked a bit.
He went full circle.
Yeah, I don't mind because at least he was still the big guy in that tag team, and it kind of worked. But yeah, I mean, they tend to do that with the guys when they're not working. Yeah, giving Great Khali like the kiss cam gimmick and all that shit. So yeah, it's I wouldn't be surprised, Richie. Let's just put it that way. If by either this time next year or later this year, he's doing comedy or something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it is telling that, like, if Vince was totally behind him, he'd be in that tournament, but he's not.
Oh yeah, no, he would be one of the guys. He'd be facing somebody in that tournament. Yeah, for sure. Not going over, but yeah, he would be one of those triple threats. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, so he wasn't even on the show. So like this was about as good a match as you could expect. But full credit to Rollins, and but yeah, it was decent.
Yeah. JPO, what did you think about Seth and Omos?
I mean, credit to Seth for actually pulling out double digits with Omos, so it definitely, I guess you could say, surpassed expectations to a point. I still don't think that's great though, because like you said, this is arguably. I think I might agree with Pez. This actually might not be the worst match of the night. Maybe we'll get to that next, but yeah, it's still kind of just okay. It also was another match that, like, from the get go, I just don't really know why this was here, and I still don't. You know what I mean? Other than, like, I guess pumping up Seth a little bit more for the tournament, which is, I thought too much pump up for Seth. I think he was too obvious of an advancement in the tournament. Like, he's the only one that kind of had, like, segments, like him and Cody. I think were the only two that, like, felt like they actually were actually given opportunities to say how they're gonna win. So yeah, I don't know. It still was very meh for me, to a large degree. This would have been an okay, like, 9 p.m. Raw match in the middle of the show. But for a big pay-per-view match, I don't know.
In the build-up, they hardly interacted either. So that what it was just, I don't. It was just,
yeah, that's what I mean. There wasn't much of a reason for it here. It was, definitely probably the best almost match. Is not, saying much. I didn't like the Brock one, and but yeah.
Yeah, it's surpassed expectations, but like, definitely not gonna talk about it anymore after tonight. Probably,
Yeah.
it's not gonna make any end of the year lists. But up next, we had a triple threat for the United States title. Austin Theory defeating Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. Maybe this is just me being a bit Bronson Reed fan and wanting them to push him. I thought, but of course, Austin Theory wins the way heels do in triple threats, because why not? And I don't dislike Austin Theory as champion. I think he's a good champion. I think he's really developed a character over the last few months that I'm enjoying. But I wanted to see him put it on Bronson Reed, and maybe Theory goes into that main event level on whatever show he's on. I believe he's on SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. I don't know if a Roman Reigns Austin Theory program is down the line or not, but I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just saying that. That's a good, like, B level pay-per-view main event match, I think. But he's still your United States champion going into Night of Champions. Richie, what did you think about the triple threat?
Yeah, I just thought this match was like there. It was all right. It was okay. The draft kind of gave away that Bronson probably wasn't going to win because he's on Raw, and like they got the Intercontinental title. So unless they want to, yeah, they're not. It's not out of the realm possibility that they're gonna kind of make things complicated for themselves. So it wasn't out of the realm possibility that Bronson could win this, and then you have the United States and Intercontinental on the same show again, because they do that thing. But to me, it was out of Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Yeah, I don't know. It was and as much I don't mind Austin Theory, but it was like it was almost like, I don't know. So I like big meaty men matches, and sometimes when he was in the match, even though I think he's a good wrestler and everything, but sometimes when he was in the match, it dragged it down. I just wanted to, honestly, I wanted to see Bronson and Bobby Lashley go at it, and we didn't get enough of that because Austin Theory was in the match. So, and we're not going to get a one-on-one match, it seems, between Bronson and Bobby Lashley anytime soon, because they're on different brands. So, I think he's a decent champion, but I just think this match could have been a lot more. It was just sort of there, but
and it was just under 7 minutes. Like,
yeah,
it
it's
was
just
not that
like
long.
I don't know why it was so short either. It's like, I don't know, and I don't know. It was just there. You could have done more with it. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, the dog didn't like it either.
Yeah. Flatmate's not here. The dog's got separation anxiety. But
Okay. Yeah. So when I say Seth and Omos is my least favorite, like, I say that because I'm not an Omos fan. I thought this match was all right, but this is probably like my most disappointing match of the night, because I thought they could have done a lot more and they just didn't, given the time they had. I don't think that was their fault. They did what they could with the time they had, but it just was what it was. Jordan, what did you think about the triple threat?
Yeah, this probably would be my least favorite match of the night, which is in a way maybe a small compliment because I don't hate it, but again maybe because it's 7 minutes, maybe because I just felt like every time they could have clicked into the next gear they didn't because Austin Theory would then kind of do some heel shit and bring it down just when we're kind of getting into the meat of it, if you will. So yeah, this was just kind of one of those that it was okay. It again felt like to me a good Raw main event here, but maybe just because they were only given a few minutes here and I don't know. I just remember like, oh, it's over. Okay, kind of when it happened live, and again, kind of like Richie said too. Man, I really wish I wasn't late last week because I really didn't had give time to give thoughts in that prediction. Because yeah, there's almost no chance Bronson was going to win, just statistically to muddy up the title picture here. Unfortunately for him, so yeah, Theory retains. Okay, I think it's weirdly. I think Rollins had almost just told a better story. Giving a little more time, getting the big guy down, and this was just not one of those triple threat matches that just kind of felt like a few moves, and we got a little bit in, and then we're done. You know what I mean? And that's why sometimes triple threats don't totally work. And I think this is an example of just an okay triple threat.
Yeah, Austin, what did you think?
This felt like right before they went through the curtain, they were supposed to have like 12 minutes, and they suddenly went, "Hey guys, cut 5 minutes off your match real quick." Okay, bye. Like, because it felt like they were trying to do a 12-minute match in like 6 minutes. Like they were sprinting the entire time, and it was especially the last 2 or 3 minutes. It was just like move, 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 pin. Like it was very quick, and yeah, it just I guess maybe they were anticipating something else going longer. They gave Bad Bunny more time. I don't know what it was, but it felt like they got their stuff cut last minute. So I didn't hate it. I mean, it was still I thought it was entertaining because it was just a quick nonstop, quick match. But I'm the same as Richie. I would have rather have had Haas Warfare with, Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. I thought that would have been really fun because the little bit they got again back and forth against each other was fun. I enjoyed that. And Austin Theory is just so uninteresting. I don't know where this character is going, what his character really is. He's just a dude. I don't know. Like I don't know he's just there because Vince likes him. Like Vince likes his look. He's Vince's guy, and they're gonna keep trying to do it. But I don't think we're like people are ever gonna really come around on him. Like we have with some other people. So I don't know what his thing is because I don't see people cheering him because he's just not that interesting to cheer for. He's not really getting that much heat. It's starting to get to like go away heat, which is the bad heat you don't want to get. But yeah, I don't know. He's just uninteresting. Like they need to get this title off of him quicker. Like if they were ever going to do a title change in a foreign land, take it off of him in Saudi Arabia and let's do something else. Just get off somebody else so we can just just do something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that was the triple threat. Very very disappointing, but not terrible. Up next, we saw the other women's championship because Rhea defended the other brand's championship. SmackDown. This is for the SmackDown.
The Raw chick defended the SmackDown champion.
Yeah, against Zelina Vega in her home country, and Zelina Vega, she got that welcome, and. I think she held her own in this match. I thought this was a decent match as well. I will never stop loving the way Rhea pins Zelina Vega. I think that was the best part of the match. But there was also some pretty good action. And then after the match, I thought the ovation she got well deserved. Now is she going to get another title match anytime soon? Probably not. But she took the opportunity and she made the most of it, and good for her. Jordan, what did you think about the SmackDown women's title match?
I liked it. I had fun with it. I think it's one of those I don't want to say lowered expectations because this is just one of those matches again that just scream, what's up. Yeah. Rhea Ripley is too hot, and I just don't mean hot umami. I mean she's coming off that big win that we all wanted. This is her first defense. I don't care if she's facing what I mean. Fabulous Moolah from the grave. Like, she's gonna win. She's gonna go over. Like, there's no way
Fuck
Rhea
that
keeps
match.
dropping this title already. So between that and then also just the fact that not in a mean way, but there's only one reason Zelina Vega's in this match here. Now, I like her a lot. I think she's great, and I hope she wrestles more. So I'm not saying this from my own personal, opinion. I think she's great, but obviously they haven't done much with her. She's in this match simply because they're in Puerto Rico, you know what I mean? And they know she's going to get a nice pop, and she did. She got a really nice standing ovation after the match, so there was that moment too, well deserved. But yeah, Zelina Vega, her last singles win when she was named number one contender, because she got one against like Sonya or whatever. But when she was named number one contender, her last singles win was in December of 2021. So yeah, there's a reason why she's in here. And so again, it's because they're in the right place, for her. Same thing with like when they kind of shoehorn in Natalia, when they're in Canada, a couple months ago, So so what the outcome is. But they do fine. It was a fine match, like I said. Well, it's another one that's not too doesn't over where it's welcome.
I think it's just
another 7-minute match or so. So yeah, like I said, I had fun with it here. I'm happy to see Zelina have a good one-on-one match. I think she's talented enough to where she definitely, because they kind of viewed her, I think, was more of a manager these last couple of years, to where she gets more in the ring now. But yeah, mommy wins. I'm good with it.
Yeah, Austin, what did you think about the title match?
Okay, so which is the case? Is Zelina Vega just that small, or is Rhea Ripley just that big? Because my God, it looked like
60-40.
It looked like
I
a
think
giant.
both can be true.
It looked like a giant beating on a small child. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, she's tiny. Like,
into this, she's 5'1" and like just over 100.
I don't even believe she's 5 feet tall.
I forgot to say this too. Her victory, by the way, in December 2021, was against Rhea. She beat Rhea. Funny enough, which I'm surprised they didn't highlight.
The title match.
I'm surprised they didn't highlight. Like, hey, look, she beat her 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Because you're allowed to highlight history now.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I mean, it's the same thing where in the first match, I at least believed a sliver that Io could have won that match, because I think there's place you can go with that, because you could have done something where maybe she wins and Bayley gets jealous and that begins the breakup, whatever. You could do something with that. But like, yeah, Zelina was here, and literally I think I heard the story where she went to Adam Pearce and was like, hey, there's a Puerto Rico pay-per-view come up and I'm Puerto Rican. And so they did it. So it was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. So I'm glad she got her match, or her chance to go out. And I thought it was funny that she was literally just dressed as a flag. Pretty much literally, she was wearing a flag to come to the ring. So a little cheap maybe, I don't know, but that's fine. But yeah, I never believed she was actually going to win this match. Rhea's just too on fire right now, and I think she's keeping that for a while. But I think it was fine. Kind of felt like an extended squash match to a degree, because again, she got her little shots in, but I think when Rhea was dominant, it was like, because I just never had that idea that she was ever going to win this match. But still, I'm happy that she got the shot. It's all well and good, and it wasn't like a major pay-per-view or anything, so it's fine. It wasn't SummerSlam or anything like that. So yeah, not bad. Still not my least favorite match on the show. So keep going.
Wait, have we gotten there yet, or do we not have gotten to your least favorite?
To what? Oh, we still haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I have a feeling I know which one it will be, but Richie, what did you think about Rhea?
I think the crowd made this match, and I think they got what they wanted out of this match. Yeah, it's interesting. So Zelina Vega is the I think she's like she's the cousins with Amazing Red, and they mentioned that on commentary.
Yeah.
Interesting. They would never. When Vince was in total control, they would never be allowed to mention that.
Amazing what?
Amazing what? Red.
A red what? What are you talking about? A red person? What's going on?
But yeah, so that's cool, and Zelina Vega kind of looked like Sasha Banks here, to the point where she even did the Meteora. It was good. But yeah, you never believed that she had a chance of winning. But it was still a cool moment, and something that she could talk about. So it was a cool moment for her. But yeah, it's just like you're there because it's you're in Puerto Rico. It's like, are they going to do if like when Money in the Bank's in London, are they going to be like, oh hey hey I don't know, like Piper Niven, I know you're Scottish, but do you want a title shot? We haven't done anything with you for a while, but hey, you're from that part of the world. Oh, hey, Nikki Cross, do you want to? So yeah, but yeah, no, it was a decent match, and it was a cool moment. But
Yeah, a good moment, and yeah, Zelina had no problem hiding her emotion at all. She was very good at hiding that. No, she was emotional and rightfully so. Probably the biggest moment of her career so far. So, but good for her. I'm glad she got the moment. All right, up next, the San Juan Street Fight, which is just a street fight held in San Juan.
yeah.
Bad Bunny defeating Damian Priest. This is probably my favorite match of the night, just from like an entertainment standpoint. This was entertaining. I thought there was potential for it to be overbooked, just because of everyone who could potentially be involved, including a couple that one that we talked about last week, brought up by Austin, Carlito, but. We saw Savio Vega signing. He showed up. The LWO, obviously, the rest of the Judgment Day, obviously. But it didn't feel overbooked, even though like 8 other people got involved. It didn't go on for too long. I thought this was fun. The crowd obviously was into it. And yeah, there was no way Bad Bunny was going to lose. But props to him for taking some of the bumps he did. Shout out to Damian Priest for giving him a great match. Austin, what did you think about the street fight?
Yeah, this was probably overall maybe the most entertaining match on the show. Like, yeah, I think it was. My only thing is I think the interference section of the match went on a couple of minutes too long. Like, I think they could have sped that up a little bit. Like, the whole thing just, it felt like they were probably given like 20 minutes. I think it ended up going closer to 30 just because of
like 25 as well.
Yeah, I did feel like it went on a little because during that middle portion, I was just like, what are Bad Bunny and Damian Priest doing this whole time? Are they just like laying in the ring? What the hell's going on? Because yeah, we were in that aisleway for a while. But yeah, even then, yeah, Bad Bunny comes out. He turned his entrance into a concert, and it was awesome with him. I think it was really smart for him to do the Chumbea song because that was more of like a anthem, arena thump, kind of song, and the whole crowd was just like chanting. I've watched so many of the cell phone videos of that entrance, and like the whole crowd is literally like bouncing up and down for it. Like it's pretty damn cool. And yeah, I mean, he was the most over guy on the show, which I don't know if I expected. Like I knew he was going to be over, but like, man, he was like Stone Cold Steve Austin over on the damn show. It was ridiculous. And yeah, I didn't know if they would maybe even be into Damien because Damien is Puerto Rican too. So it was like, I don't think they wanted to like outright boo him, but they were super with Bad Bunny in this one. I thought, yeah, he took really good bumps. He was a total rubber band man in this thing, flopping all over the place. And I mean, do I think he needs to be like a regular wrestler? No, but I also think he's done pretty well so far, much like Logan Paul. They've got two of these celebrity sort of wrestlers who are doing pretty good, and they've had pretty good outings so far. So I will not shudder at Bad Bunny being brought back for like another match at some point, for something. I'm totally fine with it. The Falcon Arrow thing on the outside through those tables was great. Like, it helps that Damien's a big, strong, scary guy and can easily press him up. Bad Bunny can't be more than 160, 170 pounds.
Oh yeah, probably.
He's pretty lanky. So bad, Damien, a big, strong guy, can get him over. So he makes it look good. And yeah, he got some good fire. Using the weapons was smart, having it be a street fight, so it didn't have to be so much like pure wrestling. But yeah, all the stuff in the middle, even though I think it went a little too long, was fun. Carlito getting a giant pop, like when he came out. Even Savio Vega doing, he was a little more Quang than Savio Vega with his chops and stuff, but yeah, but still, it was all right. And yeah, Bad Bunny getting the win. It was good. So yeah, despite it being just a tad too long, I think they could have trimmed it a little bit. It was still really entertaining, and the crowd, yeah, totally made this thing really special.
Yeah. Richie, what did you think about the street fight?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I think Bad Bunny has proven to be a really good asset for WWE, and it's really, yeah, and you can tell he really loves wrestling as well. So yeah, like use him when you can, and I think it's only a positive. Yeah, and he can be carries a really good match. I think the stock of Damian Priest has gone up as well just by being in that ring. Yeah, I think you could do. So you could do something with Damian Priest as well. And he's got a great great look, and I think he handled himself really well in this match. I thought it was I thought it was really good. Yeah, and then like the yeah Khalida coming out. I was disappointed they cut off the bit of his entrance where it's like I spit in the face. People don't be cool.
They
They
just
just
went
went
right
straight.
to the music.
I'm like no, and I'm like. But yeah, and then Khalida looks fucking jacked. Holy shit, that dude's in good shape. Holy crap, that dude's been working out. And then Savio Vega's very over still, and it's like, no, this was a lot of fun. And I liked I like the destroyer at the end. That's kind of cool. So I dug it, and no, I hope they I do see him in the same realm as Logan Paul, and they've both been very good assets for the company. Surprisingly, because I was a bit cynical about it when when they first entered business with both of them, and they've turned out to be very good. So,
Yeah, he's 2 for 2.
I think it's because they both care. Like they both look like they prep for it. They're in good shape. You know what I mean? They both have a love for the business, and I think it helps that neither one of them needs wrestling. Logan Paul doesn't need to be a wrestler. He's got plenty going with his Prime stuff and with his YouTube. And like Bad Bunny is legitimately like when they say it, it's true that he's the most streamed person like on Spotify and stuff. He's like one of the biggest. He headlined Coachella both nights. Recently, and like he doesn't need it, but you can tell like he's just doing it because he loves it. And he actually cares about it. So unlike somebody like a Dennis Rodman or something where they just don't care, they're just kind of there. Like it's both those guys care about having good matches, I think, and having respect for the business. So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind seeing Carlito come back for another run at some point. He's only 44. Like he's in good shape. So I mean he can come back for
Brock's 45. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. They're still in good shape. You know what I mean? He can still work.
Yeah.
He's at the Rumble a couple years ago. People were hoping for it then,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just surprised at how young he was still. Like I expected him to be a little bit older.
I mean, he was pretty brand spanking young back in 03 when he debuted. Like he was a youngster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think that was like 20 years ago though. Like I just thought he was older. But Jordan, what did you think about Bad Bunny and Damian Priest?
This was a lot of fun here. Again, met if not surpassed expectations here. I know people were like, I remember some people like, oh, this should have been another tag at first because I don't know about Bad Bunny, but I'm like, no, especially like a no holds barred match makes sense. I mean, you can kind of build to each spot here, and they did, and it was fun. Told a good story. You had your cameos, but first of all, the pop that people had for Bad Bunny, I think maybe the pop of the night, and then even of all people, Carlito, not totally surprising, man. Yeah, never thought I'd see Savio Vega get such a huge pop on WWE television like that, man. So that was cool. As Pez said, the kind of quaint coming out on him in the entranceway, yeah. But even like he was having fun, and the guy's been active. He's been doing MLW stuff off and on.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he still wrestles in Puerto Rico occasionally too. I mean, he's got one of those.
Yeah, no, I mean he's never really like. He might have had like moments where he stopped to like heal up, but no, he's been active in the last like year or two with MLW in the States. And yeah, I'm sure he does stuff in Puerto Rico. So yeah, this is a lot of fun here. I mean, like you said, you could have maybe gone a little quicker with some things, the interference. 25 minutes. I felt like even when I was about to say Quang, even when Vega brought out LWO, like I felt like that took that was stalled like for whatever reason
or something. I thought they had maybe a snafu because he's clearly waiting for the LWO music to hit. But oh my god, did time stop? While
he's just like, hurry up.
Yeah, like so much so that I'm like, oh, maybe it's not maybe it's got someone else. Who else?
Maybe it's got something else.
Maybe Puerto Rican wrestler.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who else is a Puerto Rican wrestler?
Is Epico and Primo big enough to get a spot?
But my friend was joking around just because we saw all these returns it's a bad joke. And he's like, "Oh my God, it's Eddie Guerrero."
Well, they played the beginning of that thing where it's like,
I don't know what the Viva La Raza thing. I don't
Viva
even.
La
Yeah.
Raza, yeah.
Chavo's not popping up. Chavo's not totally happy. It seems.
Yeah.
Shout out to I was just reading this just now. Brian Kendrick was specifically requested to help train Bad Bunny for the match here. I guess he's kind of the original guy that helped train him back in the day. For his matches back in the day. So he was like, "No, I got to rapport with the guy." So they brought him back in for this, which is not the first time that's happened. Even after he was fired, Ronda Rousey requested him for a match. So there's a lot of respect still for Brian Kendrick, which, he said some dumb shit when he was high on a High Spots interview. Like, I'm glad, I don't think it's time to ruin the guy's career. So I love Savio Vega.
Well, my only thing was Michael Cole mentioned Los Pericuas, and I was like, no, they sucked as a tag team. Don't mention Los Pericuas.
And that was my other guess when he saw them. Like, are they going to randomly throw out Miguel Perez? And
yeah, go back and watch Attitude Era Raws. No, that was a really shitty time for tag teams. It was like Los Pericuas and the Headbangers and the Pig Farmers. Like, it was not a good time for tag teams. DOA.
Also, always love Savio Vega. August 10th birthday, Savio Vega in the house. What's up?
Okay. He did actually, I think a couple years ago, did show up in MLW's Battle Riot as Quang. So
he showed up as both. He was in his both. Good
way if you don't save some money, throw him a little extra, probably less than you would a whole other human being. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he was the first elimination, but he entered 14, but he was the first elimination, and then he came back as the 37th entrant.
So it's like the three faces, the three faces of Foley, Royal Rumble thing where you had Cactus, Dude, and Mankind. Yeah,
Mankind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, no, this was fun.
Up next, we had the 6-man tag between the Bloodline defeating Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. And this was a match that I thought could go either way. Like, do you keep the champions on the winning streak, or do you, since the titles aren't on the line, give the win to the Bloodline, who could, they don't need to start this losing streak at pay-per-views. And so, the Bloodline got the victory here. I think we were split on this one. I think Austin and I went with the Bloodline, and then Richie and Jordan for the other three. They need to come up with a team name now. Do
they? I don't think Kevin Owens wants to team with Matt Riddle.
So
even Sami and Zayn doesn't have a team name.
That's why Matt Riddle just needs to break off and join up with Logan Paul, Primetime Bros. Man. I'm telling you, it's right there. It's right there.
I like this match. I don't think there was anything to special about it. It was just a really good 6-man tag team match. Richie, what did you think?
It was pretty good. I'm guessing that this might be the match that Austin's going to bring up. That maybe least favorite, probably, unless it's it has to be one of the two. But yeah, I thought this match was alright. The kind of obviously, I think that the story of the tension between Solo and Jey Uso kind of maybe got in the way a little bit sometimes. But yeah, I do like the story they're telling. Yeah, where obviously, Solo got the pin and then begrudgingly kind of celebrated with with his brothers. But so it felt like maybe the other team felt like an afterthought given the story that they were trying to tell there. But it's still good action. That all 6 of these guys are great wrestlers, so you're gonna have great action. But so I liked it in that regard. But I feel like not necessarily in this match, but I feel like they do need to do something with Matt Riddle. He's getting to the point where he was sort of charming in his weirdness, and now he's just becoming annoying. So
that's what I'm saying. He could be that annoying guy with like Logan Paul, like put that energy into something like that and like do something. Like I'm telling you, I have an idea here. Like you can put that annoying energy where Logan Paul could be like, "Hey, I like your annoying energy. You know, you're like me," and we could be like little asshole heels. And I think it would work perfectly. Like their vibes would work great, and it would make it interesting, annoying. You know what I mean? Like that rather than him just being like floundering around, not having anything to do right now. You know, he's just thrown into these situations.
So the match was good. Like it was always going to be good, but yeah, it just made me think and I get why they tried to build a story, but sometimes I feel like it got in the way. But it was good.
Yeah. I don't know if Jordan's there, so Austin, we'll just go to you next.
This is my least favorite match of the night, and I have a couple of reasons why. So, do you have the time for this match? How long did this go?
22.
This match felt like an hour. This match felt like it went on forever and ever and ever. Like this match, even though it was shorter than the Bad Bunny thing, like felt way longer because they did like 3 false hot tags in this match, which annoyed me. I hate when they do that. They just put the heat on for hours. It was way more about like this whole Solo Sikoa Jey Uso thing, and it was more focused on him tagging himself in and like, you know, trying to do it himself because he feels like the Usos are, you know, wasting time or whatever. And like it was just nothing, and action wise it was just nothing I haven't seen 1,000 times from these guys. Like I didn't feel like there was anything that special about it. If they'd actually done something with it, and by the end of the match Solo had like given him the thumbs and like beaten on him a little bit, I think it would have been a nice payoff. But the fact that they still didn't like pull the trigger on it and didn't do anything, he just like they kind of teased it again, and then we're where we started at the beginning of this match. I just thought like I wasn't with it. So I mean, some people might disagree with it. That's fine. But yeah, I just felt like that really bogged this match down, and I got annoyed with them just focusing on that, and it was just way too dragged out. Like, the other matches, like maybe they weren't as like high quality in the ring, but at least they were like short or they told a decent story. Like this story just annoyed me in this one, and I was just. If you had something where Solo is tagging himself in so much that maybe eventually like the Usos like drop off the apron and just are like, all right, bro, we're just gonna step back. You wrestle the match yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and see what happens. Like, it would have been interesting. Like, you could have done something with that, and then it would have made it more fun. But I don't know. This match just kind of annoyed me. So it was my least favorite. Yeah.
Jordan, what did you think about the 6-man?
No, I'm kind of a mix of like the last 2 reviews here because I do see what Pez is saying. I mean, my initial problem with it from the get-go is just that, all right, you got a 6-man tag book for pay-per-view. Already, the stakes just aren't there for me here. You know what I mean? Like, I almost would have just done the tag title rematch here. You know what I mean? Like, had a little more stakes to what the match is. So yeah, I was never totally invested. Like Pez said, there was hopes of maybe a payoff of, you know what I mean? All right, Solo, do what you got to do. And there wasn't, you know what I mean? And so it was just kind of not a bad match. I don't think these 6 can have a bad match, but at the same time, this felt like what would have been a really good way to end a Raw or SmackDown, kind of thrown into a pay-per-view here. You know, that's kind of my
only. If you did this match as the SmackDown main event the night before, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, great main event of TV.
But like, if you actually did something, here's 2 scenarios. Either you do the Solo's tagging themselves so much that the Usos like walk out on him, and then like maybe Solo gets beat because of that, because like he did too much to where now it's a 3-on-1 and they beat his ass, and then the next SmackDown you could do something with that. Like, well, why the fuck do you want? Well, bitch, you're taking my spotlight. You're doing something. Or if he actually did, the fucking I hit you, whatever. Maybe they're still kind of together, but you have something to build on. Now it's like, where do you still go? You're still doing the same shit. Like you didn't progress anything.
And going off that, this almost felt like a great house show main event where they put in a good effort, but nothing has really the needle's not moved, nothing has changed. Mm-hmm. Again, kind of like a match that ends and you kind of go, okay, cool. What else? Like, like that's my problem. That is that I just kind of was like, okay, we had a 6-man tag with no titles, no stakes, and the plot's not really moved much. Tune in next week.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering 2 things. Well, one, I think, wasn't there a 6-man tag on last year's Backlash? I'm pretty sure there was.
Yeah, because they like to do that.
Reigns and the Usos against Orton, Riddle, and McIntyre.
So it's almost the same match.
Yeah.
But so and 2, like one, maybe in order to progress the story, what you could have done is do a tag title match and done Owens and Zayn versus, and yeah, I'm talking Owens and Zayn versus Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa, and then having to them try to team up, and then then they obviously lose, and then tease reception there, and then them being forced to team up to try and get along, and then obviously not working, and then at least that progresses something forward.
Or at least if they had the tag, and maybe if you, like you said, you do the Solo and Jay against them, and Solo maybe does attack them at the end, but they still lose because of that or something, and then you have Jimmy in the middle of that on the next SmackDown. He has to side with one guy or the other. You know what I mean? Like, or you could do again something to progress the storyline. I feel like they do the same thing they've been doing for weeks. They're just teasing Solo destroying the Usos, and he still hasn't done it yet. Like, if you're gonna do it on a damn pay-per-view, and let's go somewhere with the storyline. Like, let's do something. Like, I feel like this is just there. Like, it's just it's annoying. It's just there. We haven't gone anywhere. We're exactly where we were when we ended SmackDown.
I hear what you're saying. I still think the action was decent. So, but as far as storyline progression, not really much there. But up next, we had our main event of the evening. Cody Rhodes defeating Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes getting the jump on Brock before the bell even rang, which Michael Cole was sure to point out. Or I think it was Corey Graves. So like, well, yeah, this is all legal before the bell rings, so why wouldn't he? And yeah, why wouldn't he? It's Brock Lesnar. I thought this was a typical, Brock Lesnar match once he, gained control. But it was still decent. I thought, after the rest of the card, like I thought this was it was like a lackluster finish to the show in my opinion, but still, decent action throughout. Cody getting the pin after falling back as Brock has him in the Kimura, and getting the pin. And it was mentioned. I think it was mentioned before. Maybe the finish was called a little sooner because Brock was gushing after hitting the exposed turnbuckle. Like, it was instant too. Like, you could see the next night the stitches that he had to get. But yeah, Brock didn't look too happy after the match. So I don't know if that was just Brock in character, or if Brock was like legitimately not happy with the way that sequence turned out. But this one felt like it just never reached that next level. Like, it had potential to, but didn't. So I'm curious to see what they do in the rematch at Night of Champions. I am looking forward to that. But yeah, like, I felt like they could have done more. Didn't quite get there, but still decent. Jordan, what did you think about Cody and Brock?
Yeah. This is kind of following. I would say half of this show is kind of me going, okay, and it's another one where this is why I didn't put this as my main event. I put this as my opener, I think, as a guest, because this just didn't scream main event, especially what they ended up doing, which is very much, again, kind of like the last match we talked about. Tune in next time. Again, this is not the final chapter. This is very much a middle chapter in the story we have between these two here. So 9-minute main event. But again, not a bad 9 minutes, and anything over 5 for Brock, I think it means that Brock at least gives a shit, so that's good. It was all right, Cody kind of tail between his legs, got out there very quickly after that pin. He was in the back super quickly. So yeah, it was okay. Definitely the gnarliest moment was the hard way split. You could literally see Brock. He's okay, and blah. So that was pretty gnarly here. So we'll see. I'm kind of interested to see where they might go, if they are going to try to up it for that next next match.
Yeah, he kept saying, "I want to fight." Like, he didn't say. He kept saying, "I want to fight." So I'm curious to see what that means. Like, is there going to be some sort of stipulation?
San Juan street fight in Saudi.
They're going to have a boiler room brawl.
There we go.
Let's bring that back.
A Riyadh street.
Brock doesn't want to go to Saudi. We're back. King of the road.
We're gonna have a match on top of that
the
Mission Impossible thing and go to Dubai. Or
The Grand Khalifa.
yeah, I don't know. That's not in Saudi Arabia. What am I
doing? Dude, Mia Khalifa? Why are you bringing her up? They're not gonna wrestle on her.
She probably will.
Google her, kids. Mia Khalifa.
We're gonna have.
I know that is.
Make sure safe search is on.
We're gonna go to a Saudi Arabia prince's castle and have a match in a parking lot brawl in the middle of a bunch of Lamborghinis or something in a circle. Really expensive supercars.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows? They got all that money.
Yeah.
Austin, what did you think about the main event?
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. I kind of was digging it while it lasted because to me it felt like a fight. Like I like these Brock matches where it feels like the other guy is in kind of a desperation mode. It reminded me of the Brock Lesnar AJ Styles match because AJ is hitting him with as much as he can, while he's got an advantage. And it kind of felt like that because I like the way it opened with Brock's kind of doing this slow Predator stalk and he looks away and Cody's like, all right, well, fuck it. We haven't started the match yet. Boom. Like, I'm going to start attacking you before the match has started and I'm going to get every advantage I can. And I like that. And it was fine. And Brock himself, if you notice, was the one to get in the ring to start the match. You know what I mean? Like he was on the disadvantage. So he jumps in the ring and then they hit the bell. And then at that point, Cody is hitting stuff and just makes a mistake. And then Brock takes over with the suplex. It's like, I think it told still a pretty good story. I could see where they were going. Cody again hitting every move he possibly could. And I think where Brock, thought he could get away with the blood thing because he's Brock and they're in the main event. So he just ran himself into that damn post as hard as he can to legit bust himself open. But to me, again, this is where I think I get annoyed with WWE's blood policy because it's like, I understand that you don't want people to gig or whatever. That's fine. But you could hear the crowd perk up when they saw that he was bleeding. Like the crowd audibly was like, oh, here we go. You're getting something special. He's bleeding now. It can add. I agree with Flair has talked about how blood can add to the drama of a match, and it really can. I think because at that point, Cody gets fired up because he sees he's injured. The Russians cut, like in Rocky IV. Let me start attack. There's a dynamic there that you could build on, and I absolutely believe that the referee got a thing in his earpiece and told him to go home because of that, because he was legit busted open, and bleeding a lot. Not just, if he was bleeding a little bit, it'd be one thing, but he was gushing, and I legitimately believe they called an audible. And Brock was annoyed because they had to end the match early. Because I think
I definitely thought that too during the show. I said it. I feel like they skipped a middle part to go, all right, guys.
Yeah,
last segment.
I legit think that Cody still would have got the win. Maybe would have got a quick roll up or something because that probably was going to be the finish anyways to keep it going.
I think they did exactly how it was going to end anyway. They just took out a section.
They just took out a section where Brock was going to keep pummeling him for a little while, or they were going to do some more false finishes or something. You know what I mean? They definitely felt like they ripped 5 minutes out of the match. And because I couldn't have seen it gone more than 15 minutes. I still think it would have, wouldn't have been that long. But I felt like they cut it short because that they took it home. Cody was probably annoyed, so he left. Brock was clearly annoyed because of that, and because he wanted to finish it. Because Brock doesn't care; he's bleeding. He'll finish the match. He doesn't care. He keeps going because he's Brock. But it was fun while it lasted. But it definitely felt abrupt. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. I'm actually interested to see what they'll do at the next pay-per-view. This one I wouldn't mind a rematch because I liked what I saw at least for the 9 or 10 minutes that we got.
Yeah, I'm excited for the rematch too. Brock's best opponents are the ones that are smaller than him,
the smaller, scrappier fighting opponent. Finn, the matches he's had with Finn Balor and AJ Styles,
and Daniel Bryan,
not the ones he's had with Goldberg and Braun Strowman or Omos. You know what I mean? The big versus.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't say smaller than because most people are smaller than him.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see he doesn't do good Haas warfare, you know what I mean? Because it becomes the same match they always have. It's not that same dynamic. Yeah, when he's the intimidating guy, but you have another guy who's not afraid to fight, you know what I mean, who has that fire. Those are the best matches, the guys that bring out the most in Brock, because it feels more like one of his older matches than those 5 minute, I hit you with a finish, you have a finish back and forth, for 5 minutes, finish. I don't like that. I like when the other guys have a desperation and they're trying to overcome the odds and really a plucky fighter, you know what I mean? I like those matches.
Yeah, I'd say the only exception to that is obviously the Undertaker. I think they've had with the exception of the Mania match, but that's probably because Undertaker was.
But no, if you go back into the Undertaker when they had like their Hell in a Cell match back in like 03 or something,
the Biker Chain match too.
Yeah, like they had good matches.
Their run in 02 is really good.
Yeah, those runs were good because Undertaker knew how to work that longer match too, and still, be an underdog when he had to be an underdog, but play his size when he had to play his size. I just think like these lumbering guys like a Goldberg or a Braun, you're just not going to get a great match out of those two guys. You know what I mean? And Brock knows that, so I think he takes advantage when he's in there with guys like Cody or Bryan or Finn because he knows that they could do that aspect of it really well and they can still have a great match.
Yeah. Richie, what did you think about the main event?
Yeah, I think the finish plays into the overall storyline. So I think that the finish was, it probably was the right finish because it was set up like a fluke. Like, you're not going to beat me in an actual fight. You just caught me slipping, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely think they probably cut it short. Considering, like, at Mania, I think they cut Edge and Balor short because Balor got injured. Balor started bleeding, so that did it. It's definitely not.
Oh yeah, anytime a major pay-per-view Edge match doesn't go over 20 minutes, time is probably cut.
Yeah. I think there is you guys brought up. Well, I think one of the funnier moments in this match is when Cody's getting the plunder out and he does the Spike Dudley Wire Order War. Like that, you should say like that. Botchamania's is getting it. He's walking to get plunder out. And he's doing the how Spike used to do the power walk. He does that. Yeah. It's very fun. Yeah, I don't even know if he did it intentionally. It just kind of happened. Yeah. And like it was give our last he hit that turnbuckle hard, and it was obviously it was legit because it just started gushing right away. It wasn't like I'll turn away for a few seconds and just
he just ran into it and then felt his face.
Yeah. So and then if you see him on Raw, he still had this big cut on his head. So be interesting to see where they go with it from in our champions, considering especially considering they have the aversion to blood. That's kind of weird if they want to up the stakes and we only use blood. But I'm looking forward to it. I think Brock definitely is more motivated with smaller guys. That's why I was like really disappointed with the way they booked Brock and Ricochet, because they could have had it really good. They could have had it really good.
Yeah, that one was very disappointing.
You know what you could do if you're so aversion to blood but still play that in the match? Do a first blood match. Where the match is over when somebody bleeds. So that way when somebody bleeds and they're trying to get each other to bleed, maybe they're both getting bloodthirsty now because Cody, got him busted open. Now he wants to bust it. But like that way, when somebody starts bleeding, you legitimately end the match because that's the stipulation. And then you can stop the match. Like I think that there's a way you can play into that, and still first blood matches are like no DQ or whatever. So you could do that and bring back a first blood match, and then you could avert the blood, when somebody starts bleeding and the match is over. There's a way you could do that.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
But they're not smart enough. They're not smart enough to do that, so they won't do that. It'll just be like a no DQ match or some thing we've seen 100 at Falls Count anywhere or whatever. But do a first blood match. Bring that back. You can do something like that.
So overall good. Not 9-minute match. It was probably going to be longer, but I'm sure we could probably get a longer match at Night Champions. It'd be interesting to see if Brock wins that, because I feel like this. It does feel like this story is probably going to last the whole year and maybe culminate at, as much as maybe the chagrin of some people here. I do feel like this overarching story is probably going to culminate at next year's WrestleMania, and then he's going to win. I think he'll obviously have roadblocks, and I'm not talking about the WCW wrestler. I think maybe at Night Champions Brock beats him, but we'll see what happens.
I am loving the fact that we're almost at the end of May when it comes to Night of Champions, and Brock will have competed in every premium live event so far. When he usually takes some time off between. I think it's pretty cool that he's not a full-time wrestler, but he's pretty much been here all year, which has been pretty cool.
I think just part of his thing is he doesn't really wrestle on TV. You know, like he'll do the attacks or the
Yeah.
promos or whatever, but
Which
like he doesn't. He's probably said in his contract, "I'm not going to wrestle matches on television." You know, like which is fine.
But
Which
also,
is why you knew something was up when he agreed
It
to
still
be.
keeps him as an
partner.
attraction, which is fine. You got to pay to see me, you know, wrestle or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's an old school thing.
But also given that the fact that they've been doing shows outside of America and going to UK and Saudi and Puerto Rico, that probably means more money for him
More
as well.
money. Yeah, he'll get paid more for that.
Yeah, I think his only TV match, and it was probably only because he was going to become champion and he only had to be there for 4 seconds, was the
Kofi match.
match.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're winning,
Yeah, I just looked. Yeah, that Kofi match is the only Raw and SmackDown match that he's had. He hasn't wrestled once on Raw since the the 2012 return.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to.
Damn.
He was supposed to have a match with Seth. I think it was the night after WrestleMania when Seth cashed in. Then,
Well, I think a couple times similar to tagging with Cody. I feel like there's even a Big Show match where they're like, it's him versus Big Show, and he just beats the shit out of the Big Show. Like,
yeah, I think there was one where the Undertaker returned. Maybe.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if that was part of his contract that he'll appear on TV, but he only wrestles on pay-per-views or whatever. Like, I would not be surprised.
He's done some bigger house shows like in Mexico and stuff.
Well, yeah,
like that. He's done that.
those foreign ones. Yeah, he probably gets a bonus for going to another country. Like that's probably in his thing too. So
like Madison Square Garden.
I'd imagine
there's some outliers.
Him doing the Saudi show, which they've already said, he's probably getting 6 figures for the Saudi show, most likely.
Oh yeah, he did do that Madison Square Garden one because they
There's some weird ones too, like house show in Michigan, house show in Florida. You know what I mean? It's like there's a few outliers.
Oh, you know, those Michigan house shows are pretty big.
Yeah. Although Michigan doesn't he have like family or something? There's some connection to Michigan,
Minnesota,
So if anyone says how much is Brock Lesnar wrestling on TV in the last decade plus, it's 7 seconds complete.
Yeah,
because they fucking hate Kofi.
Yeah, he still hasn't recovered, has he?
I don't think he's ever recovered from that, ever.
No, him and two of the biggest matches that disappoint me is that, and then also Ricochet in Saudi Arabia also got killed.
Yeah,
and neither one of them has even sniffed the main event since.
Right.
Well, just from a kayfabe point of view, Kofi's never wanted a rematch. He says, "Hey, that was that was my title."
Because a management point of view says he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah,
it's Xavier Woods' turn to become a world champion, and now with this new title, I could see Woods getting
I could see them being like a thank you, like let's have all of New Day at one point being champions reign. Yeah, I totally think Woods may end up one day having a short reign.
Yeah.
He lost cleanly to Dominic Mysterio and all that. So
let's get the new champion out for there for a little while. You know what I mean? You never know, man. Jinder Mahal was jobbing on main event and then champion. You never know what's gonna happen.
Curtis Axel has a win over Triple H. So
yeah, well, so does the Brooklyn Brawler. So you know what? Doesn't mean everything.
There's hope for Woods getting a
Triple H. His first Mania squashed.
Yeah. There's still hope.
That's when Warriors return.
But Austin, overall thoughts on Backlash and what would you give this out of 10?
Yeah, because even it's funny, even the quicker matches or whatever, like my least favorite, I said my thoughts on the 6-man just because it went so long too, so that dragged it down a little bit. But overall, like even those lower card matches, the crowd made a lot of it, really entertaining because it's one of those things where a great crowd can take an okay match and make it good, and take a good match and make it great. If they're lava hot like they were in Puerto Rico. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was the same as y'all. I didn't know what to think going into it. I knew the Puerto Rico thing was intriguing because I figured they would be hot. But yeah, they really made the show, I think, special, much like Clash of the Castle. Like that crowd made that really special.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it helps the workers work a little harder sometimes because, wrestlers, I was in the business for a long time. Wrestlers, when there's a hot crowd, man, they'll work a little bit harder. They really will. And it motivates them, if they know the crowd is ready to roll, then they're a little more motivated. So even stuff like Seth Rollins and Omos is watchable when the crowd's really into Seth, and they're digging him. So I'd give it a solid 7.5 because again, I think the what on paper wrestling wise is probably like a 6 or 6.5. I think the crowd definitely gives it an extra point or point and a half, for that. So I can't go much higher than that because again, I think the 6-man dragged it down for me. And even the U.S. title 3-way kind of dragged it down a little for me, but the highs were very high, and there weren't that many really lows. So I'll give it like a good solid 7.5.
Yeah. Richie, overall
Yeah,
thought.
I'm probably in the same sort of boat as Percy. There's not like any like blow-away matches that I put on my top 10. Like maybe like Io and Bianca might be like up, might be there if I thought about it, or the from pure entertainment standpoint, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. But yeah, like I think it's just a case of like the crowd elevating the pay-per-view.
What could have been a forgettable pay-per-view made it very memorable.
Yeah, it's a raucous crowd, and it's just felt like a more than just a B show. So yeah, I'd probably go around like a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I think there's enough solid stuff in here, and then the crowd elevated a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, Jordan.
So thinking about it, for Backlash, everything was decent. What I mean? Like I said, it's good when you're releasing a match and you're just like, it was watchable. I didn't hate it. I was okay with it. So my problem, it just doesn't get that next level for me. It can't get, I don't think, to an 8 or a 9 because unlike, let's say, Clash of the Champions that had a great main event world title match that I didn't necessarily know who was going to win. This was missing that. This did kind of feel a little bit of like a glorified B-ish show because it was matches that you kind of know the outcome here, or you kind of are just okay with the outcome. I mean, even like the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn and Riddle. While I was wrong, I also wasn't shocked and didn't really move the needle in that feud. You know what I mean? And then everything else was kind of predictable, but it was fun. The performances there, it was good there, so I can't really necessarily say it was super bad either. So yeah, I'd say a 7 is still, I think, kind of pretty fair here. Very watchable. Good show, but yeah, there is something stopping from making it to that next level here. 9-minute main event here. That's again kind of the middle chapter. So good but not great.
Well, yeah. JPO just real quick, makes a good point about Clash of the Castle. I think ended up being more because not only did you have that crowd, but you had the Gunther Sheamus like match of the year candidate.
You had a fantastic match that made it higher, and a good main event that was
a main event that was at least like a 4-star main event. So you had 2 matches that made it stand out. And anytime you have a show that has a match of the year candidate on it, it's definitely going to elevate the overall show and make it.
Then you get me to an 8 or a 9. With this, where I'm just everything was like pretty good to okay. I think 7's nice. 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where I am. I'm at a 7, but that crowd brings it up for me because I think the crowd, like, I went into it like, all right, I'm gonna watch this and it's gonna be what it is, and I ended up, having more of a good time because of the crowd. So like that crowd does bring it up a little bit for me from a 7 to like a 7.5 to like a 7.75, somewhere in that range. I'll go 7.75 just to be different. But yeah, no, good show. I'll probably rewatch that Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. I wouldn't be surprised if it did crack my top 10 or honorable mentions at the end of the year. Much for the same reason that Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville did last year, just because I was highly entertained by it. And then Bianca and Io, great wrestling. And then some, like you guys said, the highs were high and the lows were like not that low.
Not too low.
So, really good show. Exceeded my expectations. So, which were kind of mid to low to begin with, but still, I think they delivered. That crowd delivered, and I want to see them go back to Puerto Rico at some point. And maybe not 18 years from now. So
I don't see why they wouldn't next year.
Yeah.
I think they made enough of a splash where, maybe not immediately like next year because they probably already have their venues mapped out for next year. Most of the time they do that stuff, a year or 2 in advance. But 2 years from now, go back. Yeah, go back for something. Whether it's Night of the Champions, whether it's Backlash, whether it's Survivor Series, you can even do one of the somewhat bigger ones. I think, like, it doesn't have to be the super. You're not going to go to WrestleMania, but
you do a Royal Rumble there.
You could do the Rumble there. Yeah, I mean.
mean, they're treating Money in the Bank like one of the big
Money in the
pay-per-views.
Bank would be great. I think the Puerto Rico crowd would love having a Money in the Bank there. That'd be some stakes. And I think it'd be great.
I want Royal Rumble. They're counting down in Spanish the entire.
Oh,
time.
Oh, no, yeah, I gotta go backwards. Yes, yeah, like that would be fun. Yeah, if they did the backwards count in Spanish, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I love it. We didn't mention it. We just kind of went over the matches, but like the backstage promos between like Ray and Savio,
All in
and,
Spanish?
all in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like
That was great.
I don't care that I didn't understand it. Like
I could basically understand it. I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, so like I've lost my ability to really speak it, but the actual understanding of it is still there, like for the most part. So like I can get the gist of what they're talking about. So yeah, I didn't, but I mean that played. I'm glad they made the decision because the crowd wants to hear it in Spanish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to pay, they didn't have to pander to them, you know, like the whole time. Like they didn't do the announcements in Spanish or anything like that. But even the little things, the crowd chanting "Uno, dos, tres" for the whole show was great. It made a difference. It was fun. Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's things in another language sound cool. Like when Damian Priest cut a promo on Bad Bunny on Raw in Spanish, I had no idea what he was saying, but it sounded cool.
Well, when Gunther is yelling at Ludwig in German on the ramp, right? Wasn't there something where he was like yelling at him after a match, but it was all in German?
so.
Yeah, and then he chopped him like on the ramp or something. Like I saw a clip of something where he was doing that, but it sounds cooler when like, you know, when Gunther and Ilya Dragunov are yelling at each other in German in the middle of the ring, like in that first match they had, like you don't know exactly what they're saying, but you're like, damn, it sounds intense. Like I like that. You know, it's fun.
That's what I was missing from the show, though. I wanted a Gunther match. I don't know against who, but like a Gunther Intercontinental title match probably would have elevated it. Even
could have done Gunther and Shinsuke, or yeah, they could have done something.
Yeah,
they could have done something. Yeah,
I would have preferred that over the three-way. Again, that's what I was saying with the three-way. Sometimes
Gunther and Carlito, hindsight's 2020.
well, you got to save that surprise pop, but you know.
I know, but still, like he could have issued
Next year.
He could have issued open challenge. Carlito comes out, and then the crowd's super into it. You know what I mean? And it would make sense because he was a former Intercontinental Champion. You know what I mean? Like he would at least have that pedigree.
I still like the idea of the Miz hosting.
Oh, yeah. I would have loved that. Yeah, if Miz would have come out and crapped on everybody, and Carlito come out and beat the shit out of him.
I'd love that gimmick just every month, just like, all right, now I'm hosting Money in the Bank.
I do like the one detail.
Hero.
He did the apple spit to the perfect person. He did it to Dominic, which makes total sense. You know, he spit apple on Dominic's face. Like it's a little detail, but who he spit it to was perfect.
Yeah,
because he didn't do it last time he was there because they're still in the height of the pandemic. I'm like, they're not going to be able to spit on it. They're not going to be able to spit on these.
Yeah. But doing it to Dominic is perfect because you could do that to him and nobody would care. Like it's not humiliating. He's already kind of a silly character, anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So Austin.
Hey.
What are we doing next week?
All right. So I've given this a lot of thought. So
put him in the chat.
So I'm not straying from my original thought, although I did alter it slightly. Okay. So I was gonna go absolute bottom of the barrel and make us have a little fun, but I'm going to tweak it slightly. So we're still going to do a Russo pay-per-view because we just have to. We've
this
never
time we're going TNA.
We haven't dived into any Russo stuff on the show, so we have to at some point. We just have to because the last time we did a WCW thing was that end of yes. We have to talk about this era at some point. We have to because it was a significant part of history. We got to talk about it.
Is it?
So we talked about Sold Out. So that was a fun, bad show to talk about because it was just a weird experiment. So now this is another sort of weird experiment, but I'm going to tie it into movies because we all like movies. So we're going to talk about WCW Slamboree 2000, which is a Russo pay-per-view, and it's the one where David Arquette versus the DDP versus Jeff Jarrett in the triple cage match. Ready to Rumble. We're going to do that. So we're going to talk about the pay-per-view.
David Arquette, if you're watching, live stream it with us.
Yes, give us some live commentary. So we're going to talk about it's still a Russo pay-per-view. So I haven't gone back and watched it. I don't know if there's anything good on it, bad. I don't know. But we're going to watch it. I'm sure there's wacky booking, wacky characters, bad finishes, I'm sure. But what I'm even going to do to make sure it's even for myself, I won't put you guys through this. I'm going to watch the Nitro and the Thunder before the show to see what the lead-ins were. You guys don't have to, but just watch the pay-per-view. I'm going to put myself through that willingly. So I'm going to torture myself going into this and get it because now they've uploaded all the Thunders. There was a while where they didn't have all the Thunders up, and now they're all up. So I'm going to watch both leading up to the show to see what the go-home shows were and what kind of wacky shit was going on. But yeah, that way we can also talk a little bit about Ready to Rumble kind of in the middle of the thing too, with it being kind of the pay-per-view that followed up on the release of Ready to Rumble. So, let's talk about that and have a little fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So at least there's something intriguing, because I was going to go full on go New Blood Rising, which is like the worst show they ever did. But no, I think this one will still be fun, but there'll be something to talk about, I think. So, yeah.
Do you guys know who's featured? Because I just looked it up. You guys know who's featured on the poster for Slamboree 2000?
Buff Bagwell.
Buff Bagwell. If that
who I don't even think is on the actual show, if I remember right. He might not.
This is when
I'm looking. He is on the show,
but he's not in the main event or anything.
He's not. He's
mid. There were times where Goldberg was on the post and he wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
Hey, WWE's done the same.
Yeah.
He's in a match with the Total Package.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch the lead-in shows too, just to kind of maybe I'll fill you guys in before we start talking about the pay-per-view, like what was going on that week. You know what I mean?
If I have time, I'm interested in actually doing the trifecta too. Just watch also a shitty Raw or shitty Nitro rather.
I do know this. I do know that David Arquette won the title 2 Thunders before the show because he held the title for 12 days. So it's not the one the week before he did the yellow, but I've seen that enough. I want to see like the follow-up like immediately from what happened between there and the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So I want to see the build up and see what was going on. Because I know I watched them when I was following along with the Brian and Vinny show when they were doing the retro reviews, but it's been a while. So I'm going to do that too. You guys don't have to. You can just read about them. Or
I might forget time. Yeah.
But no backing out of the show. Damn it! You will be here next week talking about Slamboree. I don't want to hear all this
Fast and Furious does come out next week.
I fell asleep. I'm sick. No, you fuckers are going to be here. Okay. Listen,
just to give an idea of what we're going into, because I kind of looked up the match card.
Yeah, okay.
The reception portion of Wikipedia, it says this. In 2013, Dylan Dio, I don't know how to say his last name, 411 Mania gave the event a rating of 5.0, not so good, stating, in terms of the wrestling, this was one of WCW's better pay-per-views of 2000. However, the wrestling still wasn't very good.
That's not very high.
How poor the WCW product was at the time. The show was filled with nonsensical booking, and the matches were ruined by the countless interference that an idiotic storyline Russo and company were writing at the time.
Exactly.
When you make a B-list actor your world champion, you know they're reaching the bottom of the barrel creatively. The show is worth a watch if you're interested in seeing what a joke WCW was becoming, but otherwise it isn't worth your time.
Great.
So that is what we are getting into.
It sounds like it'll be a perfect show for us to watch. So maybe there's some sprinkled in there, but it has a lot of shitty booking around it. Sounds perfect. Sounds like a Russo show.
So that is what we are doing next week.
So Jordan, you got Slamboree 2000 is what it is. So look it up on the network, Slamboree 2000, or just look up the Triple Cage David Arquette main event, basically. So so that'll let us talk a little about Ready to Rumble as well, because Ready to Rumble came out in theaters a month before this pay-per-view, and bombed, I believe. So we can talk about that too.
I might rewatch that too.
Hey, if you want to. So there you go. Hey, how about this? How about this? We do a double. We talk about Ready to Rumble and this pay-per-view, just all in one. Why not? Make it a whole Ready to Rumble show. You know what I mean? We can talk about the movie first.
Oliver Platt, if you're watching.
Hey, why not? We like movies, right? We like movies, right? Let's review Ready to Rumble, and then we'll talk about the pay-per-view that they did right after. Why not?
Oh, this is the movie here.
It's a wrestling movie, so I mean it still counts. It's the wrestling movie, basically. Yeah, it's
I've seen it recently enough to where I'm happy to talk about it. I'm not going to rewatch it again. But I've seen it recently.
I've seen it like 20 times. I don't need to, but I probably will.
A lot of times. So
it's been a while since I've seen it actually. So
I think I have it on my Vudu.
I won't say you can straight up YouTube it. I feel like it's free.
Pretty sure, it's. If not, it's free somewhere. I'm sure.
I think I bought it on Vudu a long time. I still have the DVD, but and it says
I believe the DVD is a snapper case.
Yeah, it's a free with ads on YouTube, so you can actually stream it.
Cool. All right, so that's next week. Jordan, you got anything else going on between now and then?
Are we doing plugs? You're talking news? What are we doing?
Yes, plugs.
No, I want to talk some news.
Well, I'm tired. Go for it.
Well, first of all, who's excited? Trinity has debuted in Impact.
All right, so plugs. Jordan, what you got going on?
No, one news piece. I do want to get your guys' opinion on. Okay. On Dynamite, we saw two big returns. Miro, Thunder Rosa, Then we get the good old classic next week. Tony Khan's got a big ass announcement kind of thing. Now he did hint that he's like, there's a lot of people looking for shots. They canceled the YouTube shows. Dark and Elevation both seem to be dead for now. There's rumors that maybe this Saturday show is for Punk and they're going to do a draft split. Do you think we're going to see a draft split in AEW? Is that why we're seeing all of a sudden these two big returns? Will we get CM Punk back? Do you like that idea?
Yeah.
Or you said big returns.
Well, you don't like Miro? You don't like former women's champion Thunder Rosa? What's your
I
problem?
mean, you say big returns like they've been. I mean, Thunder Rosa was kind of used correctly, but Miro,
Well,
like
Miro,
if they're going to use
That's
him
still a
the
big
same way they
return.
did
Like
for
whether
Punk.
they use him right or not,
They
it's still a
didn't do
big
shit with him
return.
the last time we saw him, anyways. So
He's
I'm
a
just
former
saying,
TNT champion.
I'm just saying it's nice to see him back on TV, but
Yeah.
I'm like hesitant to like, oh, what are they? It's like what are they going to do with him this time? So like my excitement to see him on TV. It's like
well, didn't Punk trash the company for like a month straight after he quit? Like that's weird.
No, he didn't though.
He did though.
He didn't.
He trashed all of his booking decisions with John Moxley, 100%.
No, it's something about Rocky.
Yeah, they trashed all that shit. He hated it. Like he's done that on show. Like he's talked about that. Even Moxley didn't really like it, how it turned out. Like it was. Like,
that's why he's going on Saturday. Moxley and the Bucks, and Kenny will be on Wednesdays.
Well, then what does that mean for Rampage?
That's going to be your main event superstar show.
I'm more interested in what they're talking about with this Warner Discovery thing. If we're finally going to get AEW content on HBO Max,
I think
that would be cool too.
That's what I hope one of the announcements is like finally a streaming service like tie-in to where maybe they put some of the past pay-per-views and dynamites and stuff on there because I'd like to see that. It's more interesting to me.
I bet his big announcement is just that the Wembley Stadium show is sold out.
Sold out, yeah, maybe,
but
maybe
that doesn't solve
like
the Miro Thunder Rosa talent thing though. What do you mean? Like I'm just saying, like that's obviously part of it.
they're two of 100 people that are in AEW right now. I couldn't care less.
People return all the time.
No, but that's my point. Is not even really about them though. That's not my point.
What,
my point is something has happened.
Another return? Yeah, but I mean, the rumor is that it's just going to be him announcing Punk's coming back for Chicago.
What's that got to do with Miro? Okay, never mind.
Because nobody gives a shit about
Miro.
That's what I'm saying. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry.
It's not really about Miro.
I'm excited for Thunder Rosa because she was being booked really well. I think she was a good champion. I'm just hesitant about Miro because of the way they used him in the past. Like I am all for being proven wrong. I'm all for being proven wrong. If they book him like the way they like, give him another TNT run, or even book him like give him main event status. I'm all for it, but just we've been burned in the past.
Don't worry where they left him. Yeah, how could you possibly care?
So
it wasn't.
I want to be proven wrong.
I'm not disagreeing on that point. My point was just that something with talent is happening.
Were they signing Goldberg?
I hope not.
Richie, plugs and parting words.
I know what you mean. They might be doing a draft split, and yeah, it is interesting that if someone's trashing a company, why that I don't know. Like I guess Punk is such a Teflon guy that like, hey, ordinarily if someone trashed a company, we would wipe our hands with you, but we want you so bad that like, hey, if
the things he said was more against that decision made with Moxley and stuff. I don't feel like he went that hard against the company.
Yeah, but again, he always makes it awkward when Tony Khan is sitting right next to him while he's doing it.
Well, yeah, no, that he shouldn't. Yeah, that whole thing. That's why it's in the WWE Wrestling with Trivia intro. It's him eating brownies and poor Tony Khan having to watch him.
Yeah. I would almost want them to introduce this show first and then like let it run a little bit before they do like a brand split. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, maybe they won't do it right away, but I mean, I think they are gonna have Punk probably on the debut.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to have a reason to tune in first.
You can put people there clearly. Dynamite guy, whatever this new show is going to be called, Collision. I think is the rumor.
Collision, yeah.
Collision guys, and then maybe because you do have a big enough roster. I mean, you've been doing like 20 matches on YouTube.
I mean, there's plenty of people that disappear. I was there live for Lance Archer's 5th return. and I haven't seen him since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where's he been?
Yeah, this was how long ago was that at the Phoenix show?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I got a couple of other things, but I ain't just regarding the thing. It's like I thought the whole point of having Ring of Honor is you do just Ring of Honor things on Ring of Honor, but then you had Claudio versus Ray Phoenix for the number, and then the winner of that gets a shot at whoever title. If Claudio beats Ray Phoenix, then he gets a shot at the tag titles. If Ray Phoenix beats Claudio, he gets a shot at the world
Yeah,
title.
double
Like that's a cool match, but do it on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's so
Well,
weird
yeah, but
that Claudio's getting a one-on-two title match.
You still want some synergy. At the end of the day, they own both. They want to advertise the other one a little bit. They don't have to shoehorn it in as much as they used to before, but I don't mind the occasional synergy because you're gonna want synergy. You want Ring of Honor to succeed, and this is obviously the biggest platform you have to advertise a big Ring of Honor angle.
My second thing, that we were talking about how that they really need to build some more matches for Double or Nothing. So what? So next week they've announced Ricky Starks versus Jay White. That's a pay-per-view match. What the fuck are you doing on TV?
Yeah, they could have saved that. I mean, obviously, we got Adam Cole and Jericho.
Anyway, cool. I don't understand why they're doing that on TV. Unless there's shenanigans, and then we just get that match anyway.
Well, those guys, why not just have them do promos or whatever and have some other people wrestle? You can do that, Dynamite. You know you can do that. You can have other people wrestle and have those guys still do angles on your show without wrestling and build things. There's a way to do this.
Yeah,
I think they just want those ratings. They want to break that million viewer mark again, which I don't think they've hit for a while. I think last night's episode.
Didn't they do that this week?
What I read, it was just under 900,000.
Well, they need to do what I'm talking about. Like for people like me who cut the cable cord a long time ago, start putting these Dynamites on a streaming service so I can watch. Like, there's no way to watch a past Dynamite unless you have cable. And like, I'm not saying you have to put it up the next day. You can put it up a couple of days later, but at least enough, to watch it, to where you can still get the ratings. But then, have people be able to watch it. That's why I'm hoping one of these announcements with the Warner Discovery thing, because Discovery Warner is basically HBO Max, is like having a section like Peacock has for WWE, like a separate tab, have an AEW tab, and start putting up Dynamites and Rampages on there. Again, you can do it a week later, kind of like what Hulu used to do with some of the stuff when put up the Raws and SmackDowns like a week or two later. Not live.
Impact used to have a delay on their channel.
That's fine. Have a delay. I get it. You want to get the ratings or people who DVR it or whatever. That's fine. I understand that. But for people like me, I might get back into watching it if I had a way to watch it on streaming. That's fine.
I also hate to sound.
Have it with ads. I don't give a shit. Like if you need the revenue too. Like
stop.
No, I mean I'm not saying max with ads. I mean like if you had to put ads on the Dynamite thing, like quick ones or something, because to watch that. I'm just saying. I don't care.
They're still a young company, Jordan. They need to make money.
They gotta make money.
Well, no, and that's what I was going to say. Actually, that's why I hope to do a streaming, because as much as I love AEW and even Ring of Honor, I got used to not spending $40 to $50 on a show.
Well, I mean,
you're the only ones that want that anymore.
I mean, yeah, Ring of Honor has their streaming service, whatever it's called, but then you get these matches.
That pay-per-view is $40 though. That pay-per-view, you don't get that pay-per-view.
Right, but then you have these matches that happen on Dynamite, like Claudio and Ray Phoenix, and you're not seeing that on the streaming service though. So like,
they do big matches like that though. Don't act like that.
I mean, I'm just saying like why can't they merge and do a big streaming service?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They need to also make a deal to put the archive ROH stuff as part of the AEW stuff on a streaming service, and the Max. Yeah. The Max servers could handle that very easily. Like they're ready for that. Like to where Peacock, when they got the WWE stuff, it included WCW, ECW, the libraries and all that. Like
there's a big enough archive with Ring of Honor now.
And I think it would help HBO Max, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's a stupid name.
It's just gonna be Max. Yeah, it's gonna be so.
But again, it's they don't call it the WWE Network. It's Peacock with the WWE tab. I'm fine with that. Like that, whatever. That's fine. It's a whole separate thing. You can do a separate thing. Put an AEW tab, and then under the AEW tab have Dynamite, Rampage. Put older pay-per-views. You don't have to do the recent pay-per-views, but put like the pay-per-views from 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, on there. Like archive them a year later. Maybe they pop up a year from now. As like, so you're still getting the revenue, and I'm fine with them charging for pay-per-views at this point still, because they're a young company. They're not like WWE. I'm fine with that, but like put up the TV shows and all that jazz, like under those separate tabs. Put up the Ring of Honor.
Fight with them.
Put up the Ring of Honor archives, at least from the first 10 years or something, 10, 15 years, like all those shows that don't really matter to anything recent, and get some people that would subscribe to that immediately, even just for that archived footage of AEW and ROH. I think you would immediately see a surge in streaming, people subscribing to that just to get that, much like you saw the people subscribing to Peacock.
Here's a promise all the Lonely Marks will make. If they do this deal and they put up the Ring of Honor archives, we will watch every Ring of Honor show.
I already did that everybody? When they came out. I bought all the DVDs when they came out and watched them all.
All right, all four of us just agreed.
But I'm okay with us doing retro ROH reviews occasionally if they put up some of those older shows.
Yeah,
I think
once a week.
Fine. No,
that'd be cool. Yeah, I have.
Jordan, don't you have your own channel that we could do this on?
Over at the Pierce Wrestling, we're doing ROH weeklies with me and probably myself.
I already did that shit as they happened, so I don't need to do that all over
this week in ROH.
Well, one of the sort of big issues about the new sort of ROH is that they're not looking at getting in new fans. They assume you know about the old one. There's like, oh yeah, new things. So like the first episode of the new one, they didn't even like do a video package about like, hey, the history. They're just like, hey, match.
I broke that news here.
I know, but I'm not talking about it again. I'm just saying there's still an issue where like you could explore your archives on your own show and you don't.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I think it opens up a thing where how they have those playlists sometimes on WWE. Like they'll showcase somebody or showcase like a retro thing of whatever, and I think you could easily exploit that with AEW and the Ring of Honor stuff if you were able to put that on the archives. If you go, hey, okay, Adam Cole's here's a Adam Cole Ring of Honor playlist. Here's a Bryan Danielson playlist from Ring of Honor, the best of Bryan Danielson. Here's the best of CM Punk from Ring of Honor. Like whatever. Like Claudio was there for a while. Like best of Claudio. Like you need to exploit that. Like get people interested in that shit and going back and exploring the history. And I think it could do nothing but benefit you at this point. It's not going to hurt you. Really digging into what you have. You have it. Tony Khan, you own the damn Ring of Honor archives. Fucking use them. Except for that Honor Club shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, get rid of the Honor Club crap, put it on a bigger streaming service and start using it. Yeah.
Well, we will see what his big announcement is next week.
His big announcement is that he can blink and he doesn't do coke.
Lies.
He switched to weed instead of coke
because he's not natural on
He's
camera.
Smoking weed. His big swole was like, man, you smoke all my weed and fire me.
Yeah,
he is very awkward on camera, and it's weird.
He's not the best on
yeah. Between now and
I need to start doing post media scrums, just hug all the talents real long and awkwardly.
Yeah.
Between now and next week, when we review Slamboree. Jordan
and Ready to Rumble. We're gonna do
Ready to Rumble. Yes,
see, I made it a little more fun. We're gonna talk about the movie too. So and Ready to Rumble.
Jordan, what do you got going on?
Hey man, over at the Pierce Co., like Pierce in your ear and Co. as in company, we've got some movie trivia. We are knee deep in the show about trivia, movie trivia 2023 tournament. Pez is still standing. He just fought his match recently.
The semi-final kid.
Yeah,
I'm still standing.
Semi-final kid. Keeping my reputation going. So that means I'll lose to whoever in the semifinals. Keep that reputation going.
Which is, I believe, me or John. So could have a Lonely Mark battle or John.
In his next match, Jordan, in the background, because you like to play music now, you have to play "I'm Still Standing" by Elton John, but low enough to where you don't get copyright.
Yes, and all the shows on there. We got like Countdown. We got other fun movie things on there. And then over at the Pierce Wrestling channel, that tournament's been finally kicked up a notch too. Recently, we did literally 2 matches tonight. So we're moving that tournament along as well as some interviews, exclusive matches, and all that jazz. And I pop up on here from time to time, maybe some tears, some tournaments, and then tears when my movies don't make it far in the tournament.
Yeah, same. Richie, where can people find you?
Yeah, basically the same. It
All
was
right, cool.
as
Cool.
Jake
Jay
goes,
Austin.
and then the Tubi
Basically the
podcast,
same,
telling the streaming, and then we just the Thanksgiving is up now, and then we recorded Chopping Mall. This should be up in a couple of weeks. That was fun. I've literally looked up Chopping Mall merch since then, so I'm gonna be I'll probably have Chopping Mall merch because that was fun. Next one I'm recording is a movie called Head of the Family, which looks fucking bonkers. Anyway, so yeah, check that out. And also, I'm in the Full Metal tournament. I'm in a play-in tournament starting next. Recording it next week. With a whole bunch of people. So yeah, check that out if you will. And
upset the head and you're dead.
yeah, upset the head and you're dead. Head of the family.
That's the tagline of that movie. I've never heard of this. Is that a trauma movie? It has to be, right? Or
It
something.
might be. I don't know. I didn't look.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Here, Charles Band. It's a full moon movie. The same people who bring you like a Puppet Master and Evil Bong and all that.
Evil Bong. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
You can always tell because Charles Band directs all those movies in like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And that means it'll be shitty and it'll be made for about $50,000. So have fun with that, Richie.
Okay, cool. All right. Sounds good. But yeah, other than that, yeah, you can find me all around the place. I just recorded a battleground this earlier on. That should be in a couple of weeks. Austin hosted that one, so you can find that.
Was fun. Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, the main chick in it is a porn star. So there you go, Richie.
That's not the first time I've done one where the main chick is a porn star.
Yeah, Channel Island Girls.
Thanks, kid.
The key to sex, Lolita 2000. Looks like a lot of Skinamax nonsense that she's done. The
I have
exotic
a phone number of a porn star on my phone.
The exotic House of Wax. Is that a exotic version of House of Wax?
The exotic House of Wax.
Yeah. There you go. I don't think that was on Tubi.
Interesting.
Anyways,
Austin, where can the people find you?
me and you will be doing a show. I'll let you talk about that on Saturday, so that'll be fun. But that same night later, I'll be on with our friend Wolfman over on Mega Movie Z. We're gonna be doing a drink along, watch along of the Star Wars holiday special for Star Wars month. And because it's never been copyrighted or owned by anybody or claimed by anybody, we're going to put it on the screen and watch it. So if you've never seen it, why not watch it with us and watch us get drunk on screen to this damn thing? So that'll be fun and also scary. So yeah, I've seen it before, but it's been a long time ago. It's very painful. But yeah, other than that, I'm on Movie Hero Network a lot, just doing our thing over here. So yeah, they still haven't uploaded my recent Battleground match, so I'll plug that when we get there.
Yeah, like you said, he and I are doing a show on Saturday, podcast about movies. Going on a little space adventure, reviewing 4 different space movies. Well, 3 different space movies leading up to Guardians Volume 3. Giving you our thoughts on that one. And yes, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, you have 2 days. And if you still haven't seen it, then just wait, come back, watch it after you've seen it, and then you won't be spoiled. But we'll be doing 2001: A Space Odyssey, Event Horizon, and Galaxy Quest, kind of leading up to Guardians, kind of blending all these different genres with sci-fi. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then, I also recently recorded a Battleground match. It was a TMNT exhibition match against Will Cohen. And when I say it was the most fun I've had doing a debate, that is not an exaggeration. I cannot wait for it to come out. It was only a 3-question exhibition, but I was ready for it to be 3 more questions. That's how much fun it was. I'm excited for that one to come out whenever it does. But I'm going to plug it every single week until it does come out, because I am really, really proud of that match and just how much fun it was. But I think that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched live, if you're watching on the replay, thanks. Let us know your thoughts on Backlash and kind of your thoughts on what Tony Khan could be announcing again, because it seems like every month he has a big announcement.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it briefly next week before we get into our reviews and see what it
Yeah,
was.
we
It should be up
could.
by then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll be Wednesday, and then we'll be back next Thursday. So for Jordan, for Richie, for Austin, I did the finger thing right the first time. I'm very proud of myself now. I am Jacob. This has been the Lonely Marks, and we will be back next week. Thank you for watching, and be good people.